You just need to feel more grateful. Then you would attract what you wanted. It's what everyone says to you all the time. And I've just had enough of it, guys, because it is not the truth. Here's the thing. So many people are trying to make you and coerce you into this idea of toxic positivity, even though life is falling apart around you. If you are truly into manifestation and you want to learn how to manifest without having to feel false, fake, and try and be this, oh my gosh, everything's good person, then this video is for you today. I'm going to explain exactly why there is a different energy that manifests for you, even stronger and better than gratitude. But I want to break down what gratitude is for you today. Guys, gratitude is a beautiful energy. I'm not trying to tell anyone not to be grateful. But I'm going to tell you something as someone who went through the everything that I could do to learn how to manifest to bring this to you. Gratitude is not helpful when you're in the height of a big problem. I work with a lot of people who are looking to solve problems, right? So if I go to them, hey, I know your business is 28 days from closure, but you should feel grateful that the sun's shining today. They're going to go, are you absolutely wild? Are you absolutely crazy? They don't have space at that moment to feel true gratitude. So they're going to have to force it. But what happens when you force gratitude is you force it on top of the fears. It just jumps on top of that fear and it starts to push down every feeling that you have. And it starts to make yourself get blocked. You start to get blocked inside of yourself. You're going to be blocked, my friends, okay? So what I'm trying to tell you is actually gratitude tends to block your manifestations if it doesn't come from truth or like freedom. Okay, now I'm not trying to say that anyone is right or wrong for saying to be more grateful. If everyone was more grateful, we'd live in a good world. But all I'm trying to say to you is the actual energy that you're looking for is peace. If you could find peace in your life, so you just accept what is, you know, it's like, okay, so I've got this big bill coming out. Well, I've got my business may go there. If you could find peace within that chaos, it's a lot simpler to go down to that peace. Why do I talk about peace so much in my videos though, guys? I talk about it because when I studied the doctrine, when I looked at the Bible, when I looked at Neville Goddard, when I looked at Joseph Murphy, and even Joe Dispenza testimonials, I start to come to this conclusion. Everything seemed to happen when people surrendered to the divine. It wasn't that they had a rush of gratitude that they forced in themselves and then suddenly they were healthy or their business changed over. They actually let go of the limiting energies within them first. So I found that finding inner peace actually allows gratitude to breed out of that garden bed. So you're planting, you're basically making the soil fertile for gratitude to come up. And then you can feel naturally grateful. So it's like, for example, it's like I just did a video yesterday of how I manifested using, whilst having anxiety. Well, the truth of the matter is I used that anxiety to help me work through all this energy until I found a sense of peace where I was like, I don't need anything anymore. Well, then everything manifested. It was crazy. And then gratitude actually was flourishing in those moments of presence. See, if you try and force gratitude, you're going to feel guilty a lot. Because you're going to be like, yeah, I do have a lovely house and a family and children. But it's like, well, if the problem that you're facing feels so heavy, you're just adding guilt into yourself by thinking you should be more grateful. I want to tell you guys, you don't need to be more grateful. What you need to do is notice the feeling that's come upon you. Okay? Notice that is the illusion. Behind that feeling is an awareness. Now, that natural energy of that awareness is peace. Okay? What is interesting about that, though, from figuring that out, when I said about studying the Bible and other doctrines, is Jesus Christ himself, who should be the sort of epitome of the ultimate manifestor or creator in this universe, is known as the Prince of Peace. Okay? Not the Prince of Gratitude, not the Prince of divine loving energy, but the Prince of Peace. Why is that? Because you see, nature at its natural state is harmonious. This universe is balanced. Otherwise, we'd all be ripped apart. If it was one way or the other, yeah? But what happens, interestingly, when you become at peace with everything that is, and you start to see a universe that is just working perfectly, even though there is troubles within it, but you start to see it as a completed creation. So I'm at peace with where it's at. Suddenly, love, gratitude, and this feeling of divine connection, or almost like seeing it as a more fluid thing. You're not so trapped within the construct of this reality. So I implore you, instead of trying to feel grateful, even though you've got some problems around you, instead, notice your reactions to the problems. Notice how they're making you feel. Start to ask yourself, who is it inside me that even noticed it? Now, when you think of teachers like Michael Singer and all that, they talk about this wonderful moment, and I've been able to wonderfully experience it myself, is when you do let go of some need to control everything. And gratitude can be quite controlling. I've got to be grateful to create more, you know? And I saw something the other day, it really didn't sit well with me. It was like, give so you get back. And it's like, well, that goes against the nature of you will give because you feel you have so much, you don't need anything, and then you'll get back. But we can get into that another time. But this is where I go against some of the manifestation teachings, okay? Gratitude and a gratitude list, right? When I first started out, I thought gratitude lists were amazing, and I would give them to all clients, but it was never the thing that got them the healing or the manifestation. I realized it because they were like, I'm writing a list, but it's mundane. I don't feel that. But once I taught them how to sit back, release, relax, let the energy go, they start to look at the blue sky and it's bluer than ever before. And they go, that's beautiful. They started to look at their partner and go, I love that person, because they've finally opened up their heart. They finally opened up all their chakras. So the energy system in the body is now working at its height. It's working at its perfect height. Okay. So this is what I'm trying to say. So if you are if you're struggling with feeling grateful all the time, you've had enough of feeling grateful, then just stop. I'm going to ask you, you don't need to be more positive in this world. You just need to be less negative, less reactive to the negative, because what you embrace emotionally is going to multiply. So if you're having financial difficulty, let's talk about that. So you're having a financial difficulty. Your business is maybe even about to close. You're thinking, I may have to file for bankruptcy here. Oh no, that's heavy, really heavy. Yeah. So I'm not saying it's going to be easy, but a gratitude list in that moment's not going to create for you. What you need to do is firstly accept what is. This is the position I'm in. Then you start to notice something on me is reacting to this, but I'm noticing that. So there's something behind the reaction. That means that there's a freedom behind that reaction. There's just the constant awareness, okay? So the ego's reacting to try and protect you and keep you safe, and sometimes even sabotage you, to try and keep you safe. But behind it is just a gentle awareness. As you start to play around with that, you can find peace in the chaos of the situation. You'll find moments of relief. From there, your mind is very clear. Think about it like a lake. Okay, if I'm elevating everything in that lake, I'm going to start to create waves. So when I lay an intention, it's hard to actually see the ripples out. But if I just have a peaceful, harmonious lake, I lay an intention on top of that energy of peace, or I put a little dust drop into the lake there, what's going to happen? It ripples out to the universe or God. I like God, okay? And it ripples out, and it's easy to get that back. So I'm saying find balance in the chaos. Don't keep trying to be grateful if you're fighting against something. It's only going to add to your woes. The healing, creative energy you're looking for is deep inner peace amongst the chaos. And just notice and remember this: if you've got peace in your heart and mind, you're going to have it in your bank account, in your marriage, in your life, in your business, and in every area. So aim for peace, and you'll thank me later. I'll see you later, guys.